Bruce.
I was moving fast, told you the camera, I told him. Devil tried to off me, I really gotta go pro. Kid with G.O.D., really get on the go. Tell me if you waiting on it, he really didn't say no. Nissi, where you been? I've been driving on the low. You can't always run fast, sometimes you gotta go slow. I was in the mud, watch me down like show, but I'll pull a prodigal before I get it off the floor. It can get rocky, rockin' with Jonah on the boat. I heard the death angel out, put the blood on your post. Covered in the blood, I know the blood breaks. Shows they say you doing too much, I'm finna really do the most. Jesus forgiving sin, cause he's so merciful. Oh, you on the way, that's a collab with Pope. You don't really know me if you say let's make a toast. Only real ones know I've been sober full of ghosts. Yeah, how you wash me down? Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. If I lose my life today, I can get it right back. Yeah.
God's good, God's great all the time. If I say otherwise, then you know that I'll be lying, okay? And true story, we was riding around with Glocks in the 16, getting on big screens, chasing them Benjamins. I felt like a Philistine. Now we on top now. Jesus is top now. Rolling around Southern California with the top down. Different kind of save. We be praying for ops now. Man, the devil's selling lies. We don't ever buy them. Every day I kill my flesh. Gotta crucify it. No, it's not the Sabbath, but y'all can rest in peace.
Mic check 1 2. Welcome and welcome back to the King Status Podcast. First episode of the year. Sorry we took a little vacay, but we're back. And welcome if this is your first time. With me, your host, Mr. Mortar King, along with
Had to give my dog some space. Hey, Jay Duce, a.k.a. Mr. Prolific, a.k.a. Jay Duce.
If
I
do say so myself. What's up, everybody? We thank y'all for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. What's up, my boy? How you feeling? We took a minor vacay. We took a little minor vacay, but we back. We back at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you feeling, man? How you feeling? Hey, Eddie B. Hey, for all those Playboy Buck fans, man, my dog be back. He got a little hiatus. He getting some things figured out, but he be back.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I'm good, man. Happy New Year, 2024.
Happy New Year. We made it. We made it.
Oh yeah. What's the? See, now we better start potting early.
Get into it.
The whole we made it thing is like because like we're in celebration that we lived another year. Is that the?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Like we made it around the sun one more time. You know, it's a lot of people that didn't make it. It's even and sometimes when you listen to the news, man, there's some people that didn't make it. They made it to day 365 and didn't make it to day 1. Like, and that's just the real of it. Like that. So I asked because like the birthday is kind of you made it again. You made it another year. True. Like, not to be like this person, but the calendar to me be like, I only care about it because of business. Like, I be forgetting, like, I literally forgot it was fucking Friday. Like, I was like, yo, because of the holiday, and it pushes everything day back. Right,
I'm like, it's Thursday. Mm-hmm. All right, boom. Like, I really care about, like, I break the year into quarters because, like, every quarter to me is kind of your chance to make a major difference.
You know what's interesting that you brought up the quarter thing? In my household, we really started implementing that. So if I show you my goals like this for this year, and I'm one of the people I still do goals and write goals out. I started doing the quarterly.
One of them people, man, that's a cornerstone of life to have a plan. Mm-hmm. Writing your goals out is a plan. Don't have anybody try and diminish your need to make sure you have your life planned out, and that's more important than all this other shit to me. True. That a plan, 5 years, year, every quarter there needs to be a plan of attack, and if you execute properly, you will see success from that.
True, and I think that's why I wanted to try, instead of just always having like the major yearly goals, let me try the quarterly, so that way I can know what to focus on in the first 3 months of things, every 3 months, what to completely focus on, so that way I'm not getting caught up in trying to do things I should be planning for the end of the year to do, so that way I can, and some of these are so I can properly do them in the proper steps as well. So like in the first 3 months, it's like I even wrote down like, okay, in the first 3 months I want to have the subscribers at this number, and by the second one is by this numbers. Like basically, if I just transparency, I'll just say like at least every quarter, at least gain another 250. That's basically how I wrote them so far. But of course, like better. But even if we get some, even if we didn't hit the same, but we are going to hit it. But even if we didn't, and like we gained, because we already been still gaining subscribers since I wrote it, so it's still a blessing.
Yes,
to
sir.
it
Yes,
and
sir.
moving forward.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Did you write quarterly ones?
I haven't written them down yet. They're in my brain, and I speak them into existence often. I haven't taken and write them down because I'm action. I implement immediately. To me,
Right.
Like,
Right.
I have so much things I have planned to do. Like, and I've just been for me. I've been working nonstop. Like, there hasn't been even like you guys in the OC. You didn't get episode this week because again holidays, different times, and we couldn't get in here and. Even then, I still had other shit to record, edit. Like, I'm working on this documentary. I got a bunch of things going on towards the goal, and now I'm taking that to like clearing this up. To me, just mean I got to get back in my bag. Like I said, mentioning stuff for this pod,
My
personal pod. It's a never like, hey, I burn the candle at both ends, man. I'm grinding because what the fuck else are we here for?
Right. Man, say that last part once again. Say that.
I'm
again.
grinding. What the fuck else are we here
Exactly,
for? Like, hey, like you only
exactly.
get one life to live.
Mm-hmm.
I say that shit a lot to people. Like, yo, why not think about how you could be extraordinary in certain ways? This is your only chance at this. There is no another go around. I know we all play different games. You don't respawn. Ain't no airplane coming to jump out of to start your shit over back again. This is that one time. And hey, I know we have been conditioned in our community that as you age in years, that limits your opportunity, but that's false. Your knowledge gains more and you're able to do more because now you have more understanding of how the world works. Even what it means to make like somebody broke down what it is to save like I think 10 racks is $270 a day or some shit like that, or 100 racks.
Well, depending on
I gotta look
in
at
the
the
time
math.
frame.
Yeah, no, but they were saying in a year. They were saying in a year. So I think that's like I think it's 100 for the 270 because it can't be 10. That seemed too little. But it was it is a very important thing to know where you want to go.
Right.
And sit in that time to think that out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm already figured it out. So now everything's in plans to get to where that is. And that plan always might move and shift. Like I'm not stubborn to the point to where this has to make it in this way.
Right.
No, I will pivot, shift. Hey, I'm going to get into this lane and be this guy at it.
Right. Because that's a lot of things. Like even well, that's in life. That's the things that happen. You can plan for it a certain way, but everything can shift and change and do things differently and go a different direction. But it's all good as long as you get there. And I know that's basically what you're saying. As long as you get there, as long as you have it. That's why I say like I still have the vision board of what I really just want in life. Like what the life goal is. Like what I want to be able to say I did, had, been around, met. Places I've been, all that, like what I accomplished, what I want my family to look like, everything. But at the same time, I think the quarterly ones were just so I can focus more on taking the steps and the right steps. And so if I focus on this now during this time frame, I don't have to focus on it in this time frame or after. So if I like just lock in focus on this in the time, like especially like, if it's things that really take time to build, so I'll put like, okay, in this quarter I want to just get started. This quarter I want to be able to implement this and that. This one, even some of the other ideas like for the show, like quarterly, I put things like, okay, at least 3 every quarter, at least 3 guests every quarter. So like with every quarter, like that's just basically getting, okay, that's just basically me saying at least once a month, one guest a month. Like, so, and I was like, yo, like just to start doing those type of things to really figure out, move the steps forward, because last year, 2023 was
with a month leeway in there. Like you got a month to.
Yeah. But like, even so, cause I'm definitely for it. Like, it doesn't matter if it happens all in 1 month. Like, it's just still like, just let me make sure that I'm planning myself ahead and giving me that leeway, like you said, like just giving myself that space to be able to say, okay, you can do this in this time, and this only takes, because a lot of things like that we may accomplish or want to accomplish may only take a few days, might only take a serious week of just being locked in. And I think that's why I really started implementing the quarterly goals, so that way I can really get my steps in line.
No, and speaking of locked in, man, hey, one of my goals is getting, I've been having a good time sports betting, guys. Like I'm looking at we might I might do what we did for Blue Chew with one of them sites to try and entice to our own user generated
No,
ads.
you're going to do it.
Again, I gotta be able to. For me, I don't want to do the one I bet most on is FanDuel, but I want to get into the other ones. Like I thought Prize Picks was here in this area for us, but it's not. So that's the one I was going to try and do because they do. I know they work with podcasts from what I see out there in the platform, and DraftKings does too. So those are two I haven't tried to do, but those are ones I feel I can get into. But me and FanDuel this year, I plan on I'm cracking for every cent help and being able to just I'd rather do that than go to a casino.
Right. I think a lot of people are on that right now.
Oh yeah,
too.
But this year has gotten crazy.
And you're kind of betting on your knowledge, like not just all right, I'm gonna just take a gamble. Like it's still a gamble, but it's still like okay, you might feel just a little more secure because I'm picking this. I know what I'm picking, and I'm doing this, and I know there's a strong possibility it can happen.
No, and it's a job for people. Like I joined the groups. I looked in. Like for me, when I join the space, I got to look around.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. I would suggest that with anything you're in.
Let me see what's going on here. Let me see what's going on here and figure out what is the allure of this besides just you might make $1 in a 10 grand or no, there's an actual business and a job to it where people make smaller bets on certain things that you can almost guarantee. They use those bets as a ladder to then build up to have money to make bigger bets for those lottery real gambling. But they feel as though like some of these certain things are going to happen. Like right now, Joe Mixon got 2 touchdowns. And I took that because I was like, it's the time of the year. His contract is in the contract year. Bonuses for them is right now, just like these cops. That's why they be out here drawing at the end of the year. The cops be on your ass. I hope these wide receivers on these niggas' ass and getting these touchdowns to hit their bonuses. So, I mean, it's something I've been enjoying. And, again, I want to be able to get in here. We might give our picks out on a weekly basis and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm definitely be following behind y'all. But
ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, this is
I mean, again, that's sometimes
community saying I'm big on this year. Your Friendly Neighborhood podcast is kind of always going to come in, and I'm making sure that that's more community feel now. Like I took the word neighbor and neighborhood and really want to have that be the thing. Like it feel like a community, and our neighborhood mean encompass to us. Like even if I talk about somebody on that show and that platform, I'm speaking to you as a member of my neighborhood to me because I may have. I don't want to use the word as I don't want to get into no previous conversations, but I want to use I value who you are in the space. So that's what I'm talking about you. I value who you are, and hopefully you're comfortable with being part of this community. And no matter how we talk about you, we're doing it out of a way of comedy and love. But that's how I feel about community. Like everybody got to help each other out.
And I feel like because we were just having that conversation as well, like I'm not definitely saying like what we supposed to do because nobody has to do anything, but we like what we should be doing and how we can stick together. Even how you just brought up like you're working on a documentary, and I'm like, man, I did a documentary before too. Like what can me and bro do? Like what like how can we figure this out and we come up with something together? But that and what else have I been going on that I haven't spoke about either behind the scenes, like because in these past few weeks, like since we just took a little break a little bit, I just been trying to get a lot more things like on the business side and just where I want to really see like even my personal brand and take it. That's why some of the y'all started seeing me do my own clips, like just putting myself out there, and then like really figuring out like some business partners and like just on some like just to help like to get certain places, because you're right, like we do got to start building like communities and really taking the steps to get further ahead, and what I can't do but this person can do, or even sometimes those aspects of just being able to be the artist again, because I started feeling that a lot, like that heavy presence again of back when I was doing music early on, and I'm like, yo, it's like I can't. I can, because we're in a time like where you can be independent. Like, you know, that's a lot of the goal, like to be able to control certain things and be able to do things the way you want it and still be able to reap the benefits. But at the same time, to be the artist, sometimes I have to be able to step back and completely be the artist, so that way I feel like I can give my 100% into the craft. So that's why a lot of times, like, I've been sitting back lately trying to figure out, okay, what would I want in a business partner? What would who would make a good candidate for now? Who can I use to be around, and how can this benefit them as well? Because I don't want it to just be a one-sided thing. Of course, that's why even when you just brought up the documentary, I'm like, dang, like, I wish I had the other side. I have to see if my other homie still has the other side of the footage, because I'll just tell you, like, yo, check this documentary out, like, that's still on YouTube right now, like, and what I did and how I made the trailer for it, everything. But then now it's like, with all this, and like, because I'm like, yo, this is what I did all on my phone. Because some people were like shocked that I'm like, yo, I did everything from my phone. But now I'm like, with all this, that's why I'm more like a, dang, like, well, what can me and you do? Like, how, like, what type of documentary can me and you do? And everything, and I'm at that place again, like, even when you brought it up too, like the interview on parts, and I'm like, yo, I'm cool with being on that side again. I'm cool with that, like because I want to get back into those things, because I like the way, I just like the feel of it and learning people's story. That's why when we talk about the Devoted J interview, please go back and watch that. It was a great interview. But when me and you were just saying, when we learn people's story, and I'm the person, I love an origin story. I like knowing where you came from, how you got here, what you had to go through to get it, because then it also helps with the motivation of me, and it inspires me, because it's like, yo, this person went through that, they had to go through that. And because sometimes we psych ourselves out and want to believe things won't get bumpy, or like there won't be detours on the way there, but that, however, that help, that when they tell their story, it helps me, like, just have that realization, even when you get through those bumps in the road, when you're going through those bumps in the road where you got to take those detours, you can still make it on the other side, as long as you just keep fighting through it, no matter what you went through. Because this person went through this person went through that. Everybody has their story, and I think that's what always makes us eventually, or just ultimately, love them, because of the story and what they've been through and how they still made it on the other side. So it helps a lot of us and inspires a lot of us to keep fighting and keep going. And I feel like that's a lot of what I've been going through lately, especially like when we, like, I ain't gonna lie, man, it kind of felt like even the week we took off, it felt like, it felt unnormal at a time. Like, so, and I can honestly say it almost felt like it started stressing me out, because I'm like, man, because I almost felt like we were stopping, like in that case, because just hitting the ground running. But even though we did the multiple episodes, it's just what I felt like, because I'm just so on the hit the ground running. And I know you feel like that too, because you said that, like, even though you might have took a break, but it was still things you were working on in between. So I kind of had to keep filling myself in with the, okay, if I'm not doing this at the moment, just do this and get everything else in order. Focus on that. So
No, yeah, you spoke to a bunch of you spoke to a bunch of stuff that, like, I see as valuable this year. Like, for me, like, I built the brand, I built the business that I can now take and do things. But now it's also using my resources and people around me to further our own dreams or all of ourselves together. Like,
right.
It's it like I said again, this episode probably to the community, but it's back to that community aspect of where, yo, you were talking about doing interviews. Hey, for me, I got an interview show I want to do this year that I'm planning out and making a set for. That's right here, that you can see, that's coming along. That is going to be available for me to get also, like you said, get from always, like, I host and produce and do a bunch of stuff all at the same time. So for that show, my goal is to be able just to host and sit and chat to some individuals who are creators,
right,
and talk about just the whole thing about, because for me, like, I'm one of the people that love talking, like, for me, talking about potting is my favorite subject. Like, we ever get in here, right now we kind of talk about, like, where we film back-to-back episodes and how I was down in the weather and we still got them out and rewatch episodes like that. I sound nasally as hell. But a year ago, I would never put that out, because I'm like, hey, cuz we're not doing, I would be like, hey, I don't like how I sound at all. This shit make me sound like I'm fucking I'm big, but I'm bigger. Like, in that sense.
Hey, yo, I just called it. Hey, yo.
And in that sense, it showed growth for me. Like, all right, yo, you kind of are at the point to where, yo, if I got it, just put it out. So now with my own products, it's kind of like putting them out and also making sure I take the time to work on each skill at once in their own individual as I combine them together. Sometimes that's why I want to go out and do more shoots for people so I can step my production game up any way I can. Work on my own. I have a show that's independent of me on the board, be able to have somebody come in here, do this part, and maybe even send off the edits till that show's completely off my hands. Might have somebody else post it for me.
Right.
That whole situation is just its own entity, so I can see how that works for me. And like this year, it's a lot of like last year was a lot of getting things together. Now this year is the test and implementation.
Well,
like I'm implementing a lot of what I built last year.
Well, you basically just said the same thing I said. Like, it was like 2023 was the start. It was just to get the start going. Because you said, hey, last year or something, like you might have been like, nah, I don't want to put that out. But then like you've been doing it so long now that it's like hey, you see sometimes, hey, it doesn't matter because as long as I'm saying what I need to say and saying it right where people can feel it, nobody really tripping. That's me being in my own way. And that's why, like I said, like over the break, you saw me posting just like not even King status stuff. It's just like just a me.
Mr.
Like,
More the King.
yeah, like let me just talk because again, I was like, yo, I want to be able to talk passionately because my thing is like being transparent. My thing is that's about to be another bingo card. That's transparent. But yeah, but like just being transparent, I always was like, yo, I admire people who can just be by themselves but get in front of the camera and talk passionately. I can like it's easy for me to talk passionately on the show because I'm talking to you. Like I'm having a conversation, but I'm like just to set it up and be like and just talk to the camera, like it's hard for me. That's why I just was doing it. That's why you see me do a couple because I'm just like, man, let me just get that because then if I could do that, not saying it like that, but saying it like that, it's not. I don't always have to depend on Jay to make sure like
the content is where it's at. Yeah,
exactly. Or just where I don't just have to rely on the show to get the name out there because at the same time, it's like sometimes I have to show myself in a different setting. Sometimes I have to show people like, hey, I can talk on my own. I can laugh. I can do this. That's why I went live that day. That same day, and then it was just dope that we all three of us got on there because then some people were like, yo, y'all funny. And like so, and then we could just talk about certain things, but just be in a different mode because in here, like me and you were both on the like at a point, like yeah, we're focused on the conversation what we're talking about, but we're also got that little bit of focus that's paying attention to how the show is going. Like that's why even when I said sometimes, like I even said to Eddie, I was like, man, that time when you tear it up, I said, bro, I couldn't even be there for you the way I probably would have. Because I was so in my head like, man, this is good for this show. Like I was like
you turn right in and producer Eddie, hey, cry some more.
Yeah, like so and
I'm gonna make you cry more now.
Hey,
hey, remember that time they stole your bike, man?
Hey, yo.
Got it back. Hey man, we've been on this journey for a long time.
but that's why like so sometimes, and that's where I was going back when I said the point of like, yo, sometimes I just want to be the artist again. Like sometimes, and I see that's what you're kind of feeling like. You're like, man, like even when you just said hey, maybe if I did this and just sent the edits off, so that way you can kind of you can have more time at that as well to just be able to, okay, now I can focus on this. I can take my mind a little bit off that. Like, because I got someone else doing it. That's how I felt with the book process, especially doing the children's book. It's like, okay, after the writing process, the editing process, copyright process, now I can send it off to the illustrators, tell them what I want, and they send it back. And then once I say it's good, it's like, okay, now I don't have to think about that. Like it's those type of things. That's the reason why even when you just said the documentary, how I say, man, like how can we do something like? And when you brought up me interviewing people, I said, yeah, because I want to be able to just do that again because I was able to focus more on the interview and who I'm interviewing and get their story because I didn't have to think about the production side. It's just more like we sitting here, cool, like all right, like but and I can just completely do my part. So that way, at the same time, I don't have to make y'all worry about doing my part either. At the same time,
and I think in this, I feel like you're like I said, I use your start. I like the word buildings. I feel like now you've built this brand, and now you're like, all right, let me work on my personal brand to help this brand out. And that's how I feel about myself as well. And I think for you, you had to come and do this. Prove to yourself, because you've been in this lane, you've been in this field for a while. Prove to yourself, yo, I can stay committed to something for a year, put out episodes, get done.
100%.
And now I feel like, all right, I got this under my belt. I feel established. I feel like I've gained all this information back. I took all the feedback,
100%,
all the numbers, and now like, all right, now let me see what it has for me as an individual. And that is just a natural progression, I feel like, of this line of work, when you are somebody that's been around it for enough to where you feel as though you got to make sure sometimes you got to prove things to yourself. Like, hey, I know I can do it, but once doing it matters. Knowing you can do, I know I can do a bunch of shit, but doing it matters. Going to the gym and still putting up a 3, knowing you might can make it, but still doing it, it feels good.
Right.
Like it's a different level of situation. And I kind of wanted to ask you about the crazy thing in the media right now, also in this conversation. I don't know if you saw the Katt Williams interview on Club Shay Shay.
It's funny. I ain't gonna lie, but you know I like doing a little improv because you started off good. That's why I say like it all depends. That's really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about that, like, because you know I don't really talk more about like podcasts, what everybody else is talking about, but it was some key quality things he said that align with how we do the show. But that's originally what you wanted to ask, but you went right into like I'm like.
Are you for or against Katt in this whole? And I that's a simple question, but I'll sum it from what I really mean.
Mm.
In watching that interview, the internet's response to it has been one of two ways. Either it's people that's going to dig deep, find everything that Katt was saying, and prove it was fact.
Oh, they was doing
and also clarify that, yo, he's a comedian. Some of this could also be embellishing the truth, but there's still truth rooted in this. And then it's the side of, no, I mean, discredit Kev. Let me find the stuff. Like, even like, hey, I love Kev. Kev was on NBA TV, and he got a show on there where he covering the games, and they were kind of taking comedic shots at Katt. And I'm like, I'm glad you're responding, because I love that. We Philly, nigga. Fuck, talk about me, I'm going to say something about you. But I do wish you kind of addressed more the overlying issues of what this is and what he's kind of speaking of about, like, hey, do you feel as though like you're a gatekeeper in some of those conversations? So like I said, for me, I'll answer, I am for Katt in that. Like in this conversation, I am big on people being able to go and speak their truth, especially when somebody else already talked about you. If I'm coming to your platform because you have 5 comedians up here, and even for me, like thinking about him saying, I'm like, damn, I didn't think Shane would be talking to this many comedians on the show, but he is. And I think people don't even understand the resource that comedians are to a community. A comedian has the whole, we love Dave, but even like for somebody who can talk to Dave, sitting and cross talk from a comedian gives you a certain set of liberties that you don't really give to everybody else. They don't care about what they say. They have extensive knowledge of the entertainment industry, and they kind of go into each lane. Like comedy has music involved. It has art involved. It has these now are TV, movie actors, like you see what Kevin Hart's doing with Netflix. So speaking to one of them, you kind of hit every guest you can kind of think of in one person.
I think. Well, for one, I agree with you. I agree with it, like everything you said. The only other part is the only reason why I'm not going to say I just agree with everything is because I still admire some of the people he talks about, and I'm not going to act like I don't. But at the same time, dang, you just said one good point. Oh yeah, because we usually see comedians, we're usually seeing them in the joking manner. So when they come on, that's why I think when they talk so much and they say real stuff, it always hits a little heavier, because it's like when they're not joking and they're really saying, and you realize, oh, because we're used to seeing them joke. So when they're serious and they're being dead serious, it's okay. You hear it a little better because you're still going to be entertained. They naturally make us laugh, so we're going to be entertained. So of course it was the yin and yang. Like he was saying real stuff, but he was entertaining us at the same time.
And I think that goes into the art of Katt. Katt Williams gave you kind of what everybody else tries to do, and that's like when he was serious, it was kind of like, for me, this was a 3-hour stand up. Like he went, Shannon was the audience that got to speak sometimes, but this was Katt getting his shit off in a comedic way about certain individuals who I do believe I can still agree with Katt and still respect those individuals.
Yeah, right.
Hey, what you did for your career is amazing. He's speaking about this from a comedy standpoint, stand up. This is what I'm talking about, you guys. As hey, what you do outside of here ain't really. But when we in my house, to how I feel like Katt was talking about, hey, this is my house.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to air my grievances because it's people who consider this home theirs, like Bernie Mac, and people who this is the where they made themselves have a different respect for the field than some people.
And technically, and a lot of what he was doing was he was just really responding as well. Like he was just responding to things he said, because I do know the other things that the other comedians might have said.
Well, I don't think Luda said anything.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but I don't know, because that probably is just one of his personal grievances, and I'm not there for. So that's the reason why I was like, no, because you
got something against light skinned niggas with hair.
I love maybe like, but. So I was like, so I don't know what he dealt with personally, and I'm like, I'm not there, so that's the reason why I'm like, I can't speak on that, but I do believe him. I do believe him with a lot of things he said, like, because that's still his truth, and then like there's things you can fact check about it, but and I do think he was just like really just coming on to air out what he felt, to just taking a stand, and I do agree with you when you said like, oh, when we're talking about what I'm about and what I stand for in the lane I'm in, and then if my name gets mentioned with that, I have a right to come on and talk about what I feel, especially if my name gets brought up. I feel the same way. I 100% agree with him with that. And I think he said a lot of informative things as well, as far as like just being independent and believing in yourself. So I think that's why, like, between, like I always say, like, sometimes you got to give the medicine in the candy wrapper. He gave him one thing I do love what he said, like when Shannon said, he was like, man, I hope I still have a show after this. He said, this is going to take it to a different level it's never been. And I was like, man, as we're watching, I said, man, because the episode is, I was like, it's probably past now, but I was like, man, when I looked at it, what was it, 2 days ago, yesterday or something, I was like, just the interview, the full interview, just that episode, I mean, just that video alone is at 25 million. This is the matter of under a week. I was like, so of course, like, because I definitely admired, I said, man, and as a podcaster, I was like, man, imagine having your voice that big to where it's like you're not even really being a gimmick or doing nothing crazy, but your voice is that powerful that you can make the world stop and just talk about what you said and everything, and multiple things you said. But some of the things he said, like I said, because I don't want to really get into like just the negative things, because like how we both said, like there's people, those are people he spoke on, and people like we admire, and that we have a respect for in their respective crafts as well. So, but I definitely wanted to touch on like the important things and the way I took things. Like even when he said the part about, even though he may have been talking about this, and this probably just the one thing that probably felt like a disrespectful moment, but I looked at it a different way for myself, is when excuse me when Katt said winners can't allow losers to rewrite the story or rewrite history. What I took from that, even though he was saying it about them, but how I felt like where that could coincide with everybody is, don't allow the lies people tell on you or make of you or tell you and you believe it, don't allow that to be your story. Example, it was definitely a time, like, because I spoke on it a lot. It was a time I was always told, there was a time I was constantly told what I didn't deserve. And if I continue believing that, that's me allowing people to rewrite my story. If I start believing it, even though, yes, what God has in store for you, but if you decide to believe what people say and you continue with that, and that's how you live your life, you allow somebody to rewrite your story. But because I chose to not allow that to be my story and be the story for me, not even at the end of my life, I didn't allow that to rewrite my story. I'm still writing my own. I'm still continuing to, hey, that doesn't have to be me. So that's kind of what I took from that. Like, winners can't allow losers to rewrite history. especially when you have the facts and you know this about yourself. When you know this about yourself and you know that you are a winner on the inside and you know you're a winner for sure, no, don't allow nobody to write that story for you. So don't believe the lies they tell you or they told of you or about you. That if it's not you, it's not you. And you continue writing the story that is you. How'd you feel about that part? If you saw a different way.
No, I watched the whole thing, and I felt
I did too. Like I definitely
when he said that, and I'm trying to remember exactly who he was referring to in the situation when he recalled. I think that was still him talking about said, and that for me was kind of like somebody not letting old dogs lie. Like said, is kind of like on his like he's in a whole different film, but him speaking about that and tying it into the fact of him being a truth teller his whole career, and then sitting back and looking at it, and this man was right about a lot of shit. He was right, and he didn't move off his hill. And then now in this world we're at, where now we can kind of take a outside look at the media. Like before, it was very much media controlling. Like all we had was TV. Really, YouTube was kind of coming up, but TV showed you. So if TMZ tells you Katt Williams is a drug addict and he getting arrested for doing Atreyu stuff, you kind of tend to believe it just because it's there. But in reality, when somebody sit back and they pull up the clips and you see the interviews, it's like, no, Cuz said exactly what he's been saying. Even like what he said today, like, hey, y'all talk about how many times.
Like even when like in Pimp Chronicles,
yeah.
that, I'm like, and that was a long time ago. Now.
But again, it was kind of like he was a time traveler. Like he was telling you what was coming, what you're going to see. Even how a big thing that stood up in the interview was how he felt about his kids. And it's somebody who loved my child and want to have more kids. And it's the fact that they are like when he got to the point about like, yo, we don't pay our teachers what we say kids are the most important thing. That was like, yo, I'm glad somebody said it because like it's like yo in this country. It's such a shame how we devalue our children. This period. It's not even just education. It's their diets. It's what they eat. It's how they consume media. It's how they play sports. It's all of it. It's just coddled to have them be another you, not be exceptional, not be better. It's just another person. Hey, here's another human on the assembly line to come work for your company. That's how it's kind of set up for our children, and it shouldn't be that way. Especially in our community, because we see other communities strive for excellence in a certain way. That's why I'm big on homeschooling and big on the best person that gets your child is you today. Now, maybe you might be able to find one of those great schools where it's a lot of amazing teachers who come in and are able to tool and because you don't have the time to teach them yourselves. But I would employ people to kind of revisit their time and revisit what your kid is even doing them 8 hours in school.
And it's funny that you brought up that point because I forgot about that point and that because that was heavy. I was like, man, like because he was absolutely right. And it was funny. I saw something online where they showed like I'm not gonna quote the year because I can't remember, but it was like basically like 100 years ago or something. They showed like what a Ford car looked like then, and then what it looks like now, like the upgrade. It showed I can't remember. It was something else they showed and what it looks like now. Then they got to the classroom, show what it looked like then, show what it looked like now. But that was the same. So it was like we developed this much in this 100 years, we developed this much, but didn't change the school system or how it looks or how we go about it. And then we wonder why we're still a lot of people are behind. And that's what Katt was saying. Like we don't pay the teachers and then we blame the kids for not knowing nothing. And it's like, because I'm not going to lie, bro, I was very naive to that. I used to think teachers were getting that check. I really used to believe that because it was you go to school for it, you go to college for it, and like everything you got it entails like for you to be able to work around children.
You even got to do that.
Specialize, like, this shit is clearances.
This shit is clearances, some shit you took online, and now you can teach somebody kid.
And I believe that now. I definitely believe that now. Like that, but that's why I'm like, hey, it's like, but that was heavy. That was heavy. I should have known you would have talked about that.
No,
I definitely,
always the children. The children are our future.
Yeah, that's
big. That was big. And another part of mine I liked in the interview was kind of like when he talked about what he does for upcoming comedians, and that gets into that whole gatekeeper conversation. And these words we use that we don't really apply meanings and terms to. He was like, yo, a gatekeeper keeps the gate. So you got to be able to let people in. And he brought out how like, yo, how Kev kind of, hey, I picks, hey, I'm gonna let Tiff in.
I learned.
I'm letting DC in.
I did learn in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I did learn in that moment, like what it meant more to what a gatekeeper actually is, because we do look at it as a. I mean, because we do look at it as a like, yo, that's not the right thing to do. But even when some people are saying it, and like when he brought the example of, and this is still me not like, because I'm like, yo, it's dope if you can help somebody and open the door for them, of course. But then it's like when do we hear about that person opening up for someone else or anything? And it's just like, yo, if we keep hearing the same person is opening this door, that sounds like a gatekeeper to me. And I'm like, that's true. That is true. If the same person's still at the door opening for other people, that's still like, even though, yes, he may be opening the door for people to get through, but it's still like, it's still the same person at the gate opening the gate. Like, so it's still technically a gatekeeper.
No, facts. And I was going in that to where I'm big on solution-based and conversation. So him saying that to me was, all right, great. Now what is somebody in that position to do? How do you leave the door open in a sense? So it's not you having to open it. And to me, that comes to the part where like, hey, it's just maybe a sign-up sheet. Like, yo, hey, come on this website, sign up. I'll try you out, and we're going to get it moving. Mm-hmm. And nobody's sticking for like the same. Like, I would have loved to see Kev switch the Plastic Cup Boys up. And that group of men, that your guys that has his name moniker, who are now names on their own, like Naeem is Naeem, Spank is Spank. These are people in their own lanes. Let them be there. And hey, here's the new Plastic Cup Boys. Every season or this, or hey, Real Husbands of Hollywood. That's how we switch it up. Here's the young actor I'm bringing on here each time. And those how I would see gatekeeping the opposite, which would be leaving the gate open, would be doing some situations to where it doesn't have to be how I view you or how somebody else's response to you is. It's exactly what your talent is. I mean, you see the talent, and we're gonna work with it. Even if it's the auditions are live. Hey, this goes on my show. Hey, you get to be on Kevin Hart platform, and you tell your stand up whether it's good or not. Kind of like Drewski. Like Drewski for me is the opposite of a gatekeeper. That man has put on so many people, and even his field. Like I can't even think of his name right now, but there are Drewski copycats who he pours into. He'll come in their content. He'll bring them along. He and his could have been record store. It's people that would never get a chance to be on that large of a platform that be in there and that might get signed after it. Even it's a joke, right? It's a joke, but hey, some people going out there and really trying their hardest. Or even in the joke, there being a person that can be poured into and invested into. Or like it's a good job of leaving the door open.
And like you're saying, because just speaking from a consumer, of course, it can be like when you're saying like that person shows up, even though it's a joke, but it might be somebody watching who actually is like, wait, I actually want to check that person out, because I'm one of them people. Like, wait, I actually like what I heard. Like just that, for example, like, oh, I actually like what I heard, or this person was funny. Let me see if they got their own stuff like going on. And I feel like that's not, I mean, not necessarily gatekeeping part, but it's just more like that kind of goes inside. Well, not really, because like I said, it has nothing to do with gatekeeping. But it was, of course,
it sounds like it's the opposite of gatekeeping.
No, I'm not talking about your point. I'm not talking about your point. I'm talking about what
you just said. Yeah,
no. I know what I was about to say.
Okay.
I was about to say because it's just certain feelings. Why again, it was like let me see what I can do now without a J and Ed. Let me see if I could get this, like, make sure I have a place from my personal brand, like, where I can know I can do it, just in case if that is what takes us even further. Because again, some things we got to make other things work, or build our personal brands to make the other things work. Because and you know, when I learned that, making them books, I said, man, it's still going to be hard when people still don't know you, if they don't know about you. So that's more like that driving force, because of I still have my own things outside of the podcast that I have going on that I did like just alone, and just like we all do. So that's why, like I said, like y'all were able to see like these past few weeks, and I'm continuing it because now I put in the goals, like to always have have a minimum of this many content days in the first quarter, and it goes up the next quarter. It's like, okay, if you can at least do that, then now you can add on 2 more of them days in the next quarter. So that's why I was like, let me just get started, just to make sure that I can also carry something myself as well. or and in that case, and if I can, even if I have to open the gate first, but I'm always for sure, because like I say, no matter who gets on that's close to us, I always say like, yo, just try to find a way to leave that door open so we can just come through. If you just put the recommendation in, whatever. I like, because I always say like, man, sometimes like just in life, I'm like, yo, I can show you the way, but I can't walk for you. So I understand that's what, if somebody said that to me, I can get you there, but I can't speak or do this for you. So just make sure. So it's more of me making sure that I'm prepared as well.
No effects. And when like me and mine, I fuck around, put you on my back to get you through this door. Like that, like that. Like that's how I see it sometimes. Like, dog, for me, I have people that I love and set. So no matter what, like no matter how big I get, here I'm gonna always offer opportunity. Kind of what I always say, like. Always extend an invite. I don't care if y'all haven't spoken 6 months, if it's this, if it's your birthday and you thought about this person being there, extend that invite, because you don't know what somebody else is going through.
Right.
So even in your place to get where you're going and how you might have loved the pod with certain people at a time, it's still as you go up, hey, if I thought about you and there is nothing for us to have any issues about, yo, I think you might be good at this. Yeah. Come holler at me.
Because I even think that now with some people, I'm like, man, they would be good for like a sports show or something like that, because just what they know, even the stuff that I don't know, like that I don't know, and that I necessarily, because I was like, yo, I feel like I would probably be decent, like if we was talking about boxing or something, like, but I was just more like, yo, but with all the other sports, and some people like our mutual homie, like I say, like he's somebody, I'm like, man, he knows about all the sports, so he could talk about that. But it's like, but I think of those other ideas because I'm like, yo, because of course I don't want it to only just be me. Because then that opens up that room for people to be jealous of you, to like the people close to you to hate on you. So of course, like, but at the same time, I have to make sure that I can get it for myself as well, and that I can do it. Because then it could be a time where you're like, yo, I got this production, like I'm doing this production, but I got this person up here. But for me to do this, I need somebody to interview. Yo, can you just come do it? It's those type of things. I was like, yo, let me make sure that I'm prepared for those type of opportunities as well. Like to where if somebody else I know got it and they can do that, because even with the guest that was supposed to come on, I already kind of had a plan to. I'm gonna tell him about the little homie that does this and let him hear this, because I'm like, yo, and I kept saying I don't have to be part of the deal if y'all make one. I just want to make sure, hey, you did this because it still would help my morality. Now, of course, the side effect of if they show me a little love, of course I'm going to appreciate it. But it's just more like, yo, but when you feel like you can help other people gain those opportunities, and if we're as solid as we say we are, that should be no question. If somebody helped put me on and I'm like, yo, like, or if they got me there and then it made it happen for me first, of course I would be like, yo, because you did this, you're first in line to an opportunity. And then what I do, I gain like the dope qualities about people, what I can see be used in it. That's why I said it like that. Like, yo, if I say I know who will make good sports shows because they know what's going on. And I was like, even though I know how to do the journalism and get in front of the camera and speak and everything, but I'm like, but they would be better at that type of topic better than I would, because they would be like, and all they got to do is start talking passionately like they do when we off camera. They just got to learn how to do it in front of a camera.
And that's facts. But also for me, like in that realm, I'm big on making sure I get the most I can out of people. So for you to be like, oh, I don't think I could do that, but you have a clear lane that is a very big community that's niche, that doesn't get supported in this community. Like, there ain't no real boxing podcast. So having somebody to talk about boxing weekly is still great on a sports show. And my goal would be the idea to pull you into anymore. Hey, you don't even gotta, you being the person in the room that can ask the questions that need to be asked is a great thing for sports. Because sometimes we're so deep in a conversation, the audience person is an 8-year-old that's like, hey, cuz, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Dumb this down for me. Like, have somebody ask the question, all right, what do you mean by he has a chance of breaking this record?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see what you get.
What y'all talking about? You could be that person, that catalyst. For me and my branding and who I am, I'm going to take whoever I can get and make the most out of the situation.
Because
The
I'm gonna be
best I
real.
can.
Because I'm
Because
gonna
I
be
think
real.
we all
People.
got greatness in us.
Because I'm gonna be real, people, and don't get mad at me. I still don't understand the NBA tournament thing. I still I still don't understand it really like that. So, and that's just me being. That's why I was like, man, I just want to watch y'all who get to the playoffs, who in the finals, like the old days. That's because that's what I'm more used to. But like, so it'll probably be an 8-year-old that can explain that to me because this is like the time they're watching and stuff. But I was like,
I was saying the 8-year-old's the watcher. Like the 8-year-old's watching on the screen of let's say me and our other homie, and we all talking about sports, and you're sitting there like, hey, I don't, and we talk about the NBA, and you like, and that question pops in your brain, yo, the NBA in-season tournament, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
8-year-old be like, oh shit, I got that same question. I love basketball, but nobody ever explained it.
You're right.
The explanation may have been, and then even I feel like when some of these sports platforms, and we're talking a lot about sports guys, again, DraftKings, somebody holler at me, but but in that sense, it'll still give, like when you're watching some of these prolific shows, they don't think about the new viewer that we've been on TV for the last 15 years.
You got a point.
You better figure it out. And you don't get somebody that explains basic terms. It's a lot of women in sports now. Hey, sports betting community is big, is large, and it's full of women. Women is kicking ass off of just looking at numbers and statistics. If they have somewhere you can go and learn more about the actual games and learn about the intricacies and what you can kind of see in a game one week that lets you know next week that's not going to be the same fucking results, it is a great thing.
You made a good point. That's definitely a good point because I feel like that's why YouTube was so valuable, became so valuable because now you could go back, like even some of the nostalgic things that we grew up on. It's like YouTube is the place where we can find it. Like, yo, I remember that. I remember this crazy commercial, like because I remember the year, I can just type that in and it'll come up. Like so you're right.
You can find all said stand-ups on YouTube. Yeah. Cat said you can find them on Tubi and Netflix. Stay on YouTube though.
But I guess like before we close, now Katt says he also said something else, and it kind of ties into everything we spoke about today. He said, in business, the goal is to become independent, be the boss, take the responsibility, and also get the profit. And I feel like
run it back. Look up and run
it back. Oh my bad. He said in business, the goal is to become independent, be the boss, and take the responsibility and get the profit. So with that, I feel like that ties into a lot of what we're saying of just getting out there, getting started, beginning and making things happen and figure out your niche and your lane and create it. And then also find people to get to it. Like, cause sometimes, we get flipped with the boss and like, you gotta be a boss and like boss people around. But sometimes it's just more like, but I think because when we talk about us having those manager positions, it's kind of to us a little differently. Like, yo, cause it's not like, cause they just make being a boss sound sexy, but it's like, yo, you understand a lot of the headache that stuff comes with and everything. So like when he said take the responsibility right after he said be the boss, you take the responsibility, that hit heavy with me because it's like we talked about when we were in those positions and how sometimes we take the heat for you. And like when y'all mess up, it's a mess up for us because it's like, dang, sometimes it's did we show them the right way? Oh, if they did this on our watch, that means it's like it's more our responsibility because they shouldn't be messing up on our watch, everything like that. But so it's like you take the responsibility. So of course, like when you're stepping in these lanes, and I think that also goes into the when I said I have to make sure I can make things happen for my personal brand as well. So that way, and that's all of us with our own endeavors. Like you working on documentaries, dang, bro. But you working on documentaries, the boy then spilled water on himself. Like, but like that's something you're doing with your own endeavors. But like how you said last year, you may not have done something, but now you're going out, not even being in front of the camera. Like you're testing things out on doing things behind the camera. So like everything that it comes with, and you're taking the responsibility, and that's what I've felt like with what he said, like, and especially in this day and age, like when you can be independent, but don't make being a boss just be like the you just say it because it looks good, because it's a lot of things that's why you never hear me call myself an entrepreneur, because I feel like I want to call I personally, this is just me, I don't want to call myself that until like I'm really making profit and really kind of making a living off it, like really making a living like
That's so
off
interesting.
that.
That's so interesting to me because I'm definitely an entrepreneur. No matter what the how much is income coming like from that, it's a title, just like we talking about being a manager. It's something to describe what it is you do. You get up every day, you work for yourself. There is nobody behind you, backing you. It's just you. That's entrepreneurship to me. I'm taking whatever I have, whether that be this product that I may have bought into, whether that be myself and my own voice, my however you want. I want to use a different word, but however you want to use yourself, whether it is for some people that's their body, whether that be sports and other things. You're taking ownership over that, and you are saying that I'm going out here to make everything happen. So you are entrepreneur in every facet of the word, because of what you do as a spectrum and whole for yourself to sustain your life is entrepreneurship, and it gives you the base, like the foundation to build this number that you plan to get to, that where you feel as though that's where you can call that term. That foundation is that's your foundation though. Which everything you do today learns you how you manage money, how you budget. Because a lot of people in this field may get a big check, and once you get it, you don't manage it right, and that was your last one. That was your last one. Hey, your first is your last. If you'd have managed it properly, it could have maybe lasted you the rest of your life. But instead, you were not understanding what you've been doing. You didn't understand the world you built for yourself. The money came and you said, okay, I gotta get this. Here you go, sir. Here, take it back. Hey, man, big check come from me. I'm gonna get quiet as hell. I ain't doing nothing yet. Let me just look at it. Let me just look.
I'm definitely on that part right now. Like when I really thought about it, I definitely was like, nah, it's definitely gonna be like, hold up, before I make any moves, let me sit here and really think this out, and
let
really
me sit here and not tell nobody. Let me sit go ahead and let me go get the consultation with this person that I need to be in this. Hey, yo, lawyer, you don't know I got a cent, but talk to me how you gonna talk to me. Hey, in the convo, if I feel like, dog, you gave that up for your regular fee, no extra, no nothing about me, and I gained so much. Hey, yo, you got the business. You don't even know. Like, hey, yo, we working together. What you mean? Oh no, I'm up, nigga. This was just, I don't want to. My big one. I know I'm gonna get to the bread. I manifested. I'm predicting it. It's happening. So when it comes, I'm not gonna be shocked for it. So it's going to be managed and money management, and understanding how what your impact is in your world, and not lead with your money. Because a lot of times, us as black people, once we get $1, we lead with it. Here you go. Hey, I'm this person, and I will pay it my way. We're going to get the section. We're going to get the shoes. We're going to get the car. We're going to get it all. Let you know, hey, you got to treat me this way because I have this. But on the flip side, there's other people, other cultures that won't get none of it, just had the money, and still demand the same treatment. Don't need to look the part. I am the part, nigga. I'm him.
And I feel like that's where I'm going with it, definitely, like the header, like with the goals. It's like, exactly. How did you just say it? You said, I may not look the part, but I am a part. Like
I am the part.
The part. Like that. And that's where I feel like I'm trying to take it. Like I am the part. I'm trying to be that person everybody just says yes to. Where it's like I can make this happen. Hey, can you do this for me, or can you make this happen? Or shoot, if I wear your brand, people like it, and it helps you, like just anything. That's why I was like, that's the reason why I got focus on also getting back to my personal brand as well, because of those type of things, and preparing myself getting myself ready for when that time does come.
Speaking of personal brand, man, I think me and the audience are all wondering, like, this is a fly ass logos, look hard on every thumbnail. When the merch coming, man?
No, that's another thing I was working on.
Gotta apply pressure, guys. I got y'all.
No. I really was working on that. I really was like thinking about actually. It's so funny because
that's in my quarterly plan. Second quarter after my birthday and shit. I'm only wearing my shit on stuff.
I might have put that for the second quarter as well. I might have, like, to really start, like, at least start wearing it. I think I did put that. I got to double check, but I know I said But yeah, it's funny too because I definitely was doing a hat, like looking at a hat like earlier, literally earlier. Like, but nah, and sometimes, and I ain't gonna lie, bro, like because a conversation we had real quick, like before we started rolling, it's sometimes I appreciate that pressure sometimes because it keeps the goal kind of in front of me, basically. Not saying it's not there, but it keeps it like, okay, don't forget that you need to do this. That's why even when I said about the theme song idea, and I said, yo, because I got to keep it in front of me, like because then if I allow it to get out my view, then it just becomes on the back burner. But then, like, sometimes when we put things on the back burner, you might not take it off till a few years. That's anybody. Like, so, but that's why I definitely agree with you when we said that earlier. Like, even though I like writing my goals out just to know that I'm there, because most of the time I don't really look at them again till like the year is up. Like when I come across it again, because I'm just like, yo, I got to do it. But if I write it, I know for sure that now it's in my brain because I wrote it out, like, and I saw myself, and that's why I like writing it myself. I still like doing it. I don't really like typing things so much anymore. I do it, but like in my notes. But that's why sometimes I still like writing it in a notebook, because when I'm really writing it, like physically, then it's there. Like,
yeah, it's a way of manifesting. That's how I feel about speaking certain things. Like once I speak on it, my brain, in a way, my thinking works in its logical point. It understands like, yo, to have it where you want by second quarter, the first quarter, you got to do a bunch of work. It ain't like it's I'm going to start it then. No, to have it be the thing in that quarter, you got to have it done pretty much before this one ends.
You're right.
And
absolutely.
And that's me speaking on, thinking of it. All right, so when I'm even talking through it now, and for me, I constantly, like, hey, you might talk about the same thing with me a couple of times a fucking week because I'm on the grind. Mm-hmm. This is what I do. I podcast, I produce, I create. And in those lines, is some of that stuff is me talking through. Hey, if you call me, I'm gonna talk you through whatever you talk through. And in that conversation, I'm talking through my shit. Hey, no, my homie hit me up to do this. Hey, yo, that remind me, I gotta get this, and this for this, and that'll be that'll be right.
And that's why I said when you said it, it was almost like when I said when it's getting out of the view, it's almost like I caught it once you said it and like brought that thing right back, immediately brought it in front of me to where it was like, oh no. That's why I said like the next day, hey bro, I need you to do this for me. Like that's why I was like, you didn't even know that, because that's why I said when I told you, I said that's probably the best way I could say that thing was coming out. I knew about it, but it was going on the back burner. Once you said something, like literally when you said that, I was like, hold up, he's right. Like let's get to this. Let's get to this now.
Yeah, I'm saying I love to have on my KSP jacket with my Your Flame Neighborhood podcast t-shirt, with my Winners Culture hat, supporting all our brands that I work on and I contribute together like that. That's a goal of mine, to where and I'm such a creator that is in love with the act of creating, that I have always made great. I've sold products for other people. I got t-shirts that I made for school that motherfuckers have bought and probably made a school a lot of money. And I don't even think about it. I just kind of came back into my brain.
That's where we're very similar. Like I love to create. I just love to create. Even if it's like I was just talking about how some of the ideas I created, I said, man, I might just sell that idea later on. I said, I don't even know if I want it for me. I just love and just know how to do it. You ain't making an appearance on the show in so long.
Right, got it. She ain't still ain't making an appearance. She like, I'm a little off camera.
She was just next to me, like she would have been able to see, like you would have been able to see her, but I was like, you ain't making an appearance in so long. But
put the footage. But no, it's definitely a big thing is to love what you do, and that's why I kind of love that line from Hove. If you said you made a Hove, make another one. Hey, I know I created me, so I can make it. Hove said, hey, I've made another. Hey, you can see my every look around. These are all what I've done. But if you said you did it, go do it. Mm-hmm. And that's when, like, even you spoke of on the show. Anything I got, I mean, not saying I'm. Like, it's a hard thing, and back to the cat thing a little bit, when it gets into selling your soul and those thoughts and those conversations, it's a very much thing in business to understand when something has hit its peak for you, and somebody else might be with a partner, or sell it to completely, and they can take it to another step. And if you got faith in you, you know you can make another one. Like, I hear a lot of people talk about one-hit wonders and things like that, but sometimes that's all them people needed to create something else.
Exactly.
Like, that was just a creation that I wanted to give up and sell. Hey, no. Soulja Boy made that hit and turned it into this many, but he also is production crazy.
And that's why like I admire people like watching what Wallow's doing, like a Wallow 267, like because I feel like that's what I'm seeing. Like he just, I'm gonna use this to get me here, to get me this, and now that this got me this, like with their podcast, definitely okay. Now I can definitely do this. I can work on every idea. So like where he rolled out the clothing and everything, his own shows and events, all that. And that's how I look at it. So I 100% agree with you, because every time I thought I couldn't recreate something or create something else, I end up doing it. I definitely thought that with the writing a book aspect. I was like, man, when you writing it, it really feels like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna come with something better than this. But every time, find a way, like, so, because you tap into a little deeper every time of something. I wasn't even sure how much better creating another podcast after the one I tried in the beginning did, and now it's like, man, we 40 episodes in.
40 episodes, almost 200 subscribers. Shout out to y'all. And like you spoke about early, shout out Wallow, shout out Airplanes and Hotels, man. Go cop that man merch. Support Black-owned creators, especially in our own clothing. For me, we have given so
from our own
much
city,
money in our own city. We have given so much money to these companies that don't care nothing about us or our community, that take so much from our community, that, yo, make your own fly clothes and wear it, and that's it. Even right now, for streetwear to be where it's at, and we make other brands who just decide to hop on the lane, and this streetwear is for, like, as somebody that grew up in Tumblr street culture, like, that was for us. That wasn't like, oh yeah, labels know, and this person know, and you gotta wear, Ralph Lauren has now a street section, like Balenciaga has a street section. That shit is weird to me, and for you to go and take your hard-earned money, that money was sounding crazy, hard-earned money, and give it to these brands who didn't even cultivate this thing. It's ours. Keep it ours. Yo, make Airplanes Hotels the biggest brand, like Balenciaga. And do that.
And a lot of times we're the ones that, well, like you just said, we make it big. We make it cool. So once we make it cool, it becomes out of this world. But great one. And we thank y'all for tuning in to the King Status Podcast. And if you haven't already, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You have been with me, Mr. Moore the King, along with,
again, how you to be, Mr. Prolific, aka J Duce.
If I do say so
myself.
We thank you for tuning in. And remember, nobody can fit the crown that's meant for you. See you next week.